Do you read books?
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.
Howdy. So, it's a reasonably nice day, so I thought I'd come out here and, you know, talk about a couple of authors' book series that I really wanted to recommend. Basically, one of them, I'm actually in the process of finishing the series right now, which is the Deathgate Cycle series by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman. And they're really good writers. Like, the two of them together, I mean, this series, I mean, it's a fantasy, and it's really, really well paced. The first book kind of like didn't really like blow me away, but the second book, you know, definitely, you know, sold me on the series. So I always try to give it, you know, another shot, or, you know, like after, usually like when you first start a book, you know, there's a few chapters or something, and it's, you know, it doesn't quite get you until a little bit later, but, you know, you gotta be introduced to the story, and, you know, you gotta set things up and everything. So, and there's 7 books in this series. I'm pretty sure there's 7 books, and I'm on book 5 right now. This is book 1, which is Dragon Wing. So, I highly, highly recommend this series for any sci-fi, fantasy fans, and that's primarily what I read. That's pretty much the only thing I read, unless it's like, you know, studying stuff, or, you know, more like scholastic, whatever, you know, or stuff that I read in the bathroom or whatever, you know, just brainless stuff. So again, Deathgate Cycle series, book 1, Dragon Wing, by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman. I will put a link up for this stuff, just so you know, just so you don't forget you have to watch the movie again. Very good. And another, I don't know, I mean, he was on the New York's Best Time seller at least a couple of times, but I haven't really seen any people that I'm subscribed to, or I don't know, I just don't see many people talking about this guy. And unfortunately, he did pass away, you know, a couple years ago, 2007, before the series was done. But he did have a lot of notes and things, you know, set up so that he, you know, his wife, his editor, she was also his editor, could finish, you know, the series. It's going to be finished by another Tor author, Brandon Sanderson, and he's written a few books himself, which are actually, you know, pretty interesting. Interesting fact about Brandon Sanderson is that he's a Mormon, and he's also friends with Orson Scott Card, and Orson Scott Card is or was a Mormon. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And I also like Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game series, and, you know, all his books are, I mean, I never really got into the Xena side, and, You know, like if you read those books, like the Xenocide or whatever, it takes place like, I think, like thousands of years like after Ender's Game. So I haven't gotten around to those yet. So anyway, but that's not what this is about. This is about Robert Jordan. But regardless, Brandon Sanderson is a good author, and with the help of all of his notes, Robert Jordan, which isn't his real name, it's just his pen name. His real name was James Rigney, James Oliver Rigney. So with all of his notes and things about the book, it will be finished. And what brought this up was that I was in a bookstore and saw a sign for one of the new final books coming out to complete the series. And I didn't expect it to come out for at least a couple of years. I guess it has been a couple of years since. It was kind of sucky because I started reading these books and I actually finished them probably 6 or so months before he died. And then he died and I was like, oh man, I mean, that sucks, because, it seems like all cool stuff that you get into, the people associated with it end up dying for some reason. Or, they stop doing it, or they just start sucking, or whatever. So, anyway, there's a lot of these. There's 11 books and 1 prequel published. So, and they're all thick. And about almost between 700 to 900 pages long. So if you do the math, that's around 15 to 16,000 pages. So the story is very, very in-depth. There's a lot of characters. But it doesn't. I don't want to go in too detail. I just let you discover the book yourself. But in my experience with the book, there wasn't too many characters that I couldn't keep track of it, because he does do a great job of writing and keeping everything coherent. Although some people complain that towards the later books it gets a little confusing, basically a little hard to follow. But these books, like I said, are really long, and there's a lot of stuff going on in them, and it takes place over a long period of time. And I like that. I like really long stories. So if you don't like really long stories, obviously you want to read, a series that has 11 books, and they're each about 800 pages long. So for those who enjoy this type of thing, I highly recommend it. I also recommend this, the Deathgate Cycle, for a shorter, satisfaction, and the new book comes out in November. So, it's going to be hardback, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you can get all these on trade paperback for $7-8. Or you can buy them used for even less. So, alright.